Greetings and welcome back. Welcome back to my page for another video. This video is entitled Prey and Predators, the story of Joey Buttafuoco and Amy Fisher. Now before I continue, let me present to you my disclaimers. First being the Fair Use Act disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which states allowance is made for fair use of copyrighted material for purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, education, teaching, and/or scholarship. It provides for the legal, non-licensed citation and/or incorporation of copyrighted material by others, which might be infringing under other circumstances. And due to the nature of this video, will be my viewer discretion disclaimer, which simply reads: the following broadcast contains mature themes and situations intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. So, without further delay, let's get into this video. Joey Buttafuoco. Many of you may remember the story and the relationship with Amy Fisher. Years ago, Joey Buttafuoco was an auto body shop owner, and in 1992, he was convicted for statutory GRape of a minor, the 17-year-old Amy Fisher. Many of you may remember from this story, and again, I implore you, as I always do with all my videos, to conduct your own independent research, fact check, cross check, to be prudent and responsible. And as I was mentioning, many of you who may have seen the stories and the movies that were made based on this particular incident, Amy Fisher injured Joey Buttafuoco's wife by taking a weapon and injuring her as a result of what she did to the weapon, or with the weapon, shall I say. I'm being extremely careful, but those of you familiar with this story, and those of you who may not, this information will be provided in the description along with a video I will attempt to share. But unfortunately, the wife, Mary Jo Buttafuoco, suffered an injury because of the weapon to her face. And according to many tabloids and one of the movies that may have been on Lifetime or one of those movie shows, Amy Fisher was known as the Long Island Lolita. Joey Buttafuoco later pleaded guilty to one count, as I mentioned earlier, of statutory GRape, and served only 4 months in jail. Again, 4 months in jail. So, Let us now look at a quick video where Amy Fisher sat down to speak with Oprah Winfrey on this incident. Again, this is fair use.
Amy describes her first sexual encounter with Joey. She says, it was afternoon and Joey drove me home. It was the middle of the day and my parents were working. Upstairs in my bedroom, before I knew it, he threw me on the bed and began telling me how much he loved me. Don't worry, he said, I had a vasectomy. He said to me, but you say in the book that you weren't even sure what a vasectomy was.
I wasn't. I didn't have teenage boys telling me I had a vasectomy.
So we had sex and he kept saying all these really sweet things to me. And your thinking was, okay, Joey, we had sex, now you're my boyfriend. And so then after that encounter, did you continue to see him? That was it, right? You saw him then every day,
At first I did, and it was at least twice a week for a year. But I want to make clear too that Joey, he knew me casually for about a year. He knew the relationship I had with my father. My father would yell at me in front of people. He knew I was vulnerable. And I think that he preyed
upon... You were going what?
Vulnerable.
Vulnerable, okay.
And I think he preyed upon my vulnerabilities.
You know what's so interesting about sexual predators, to make a point about what you're just saying? Everybody who has ever been a sexual predator, and all the millions of ones who are, it's a calculated move. It's very calculated. They see who is the most vulnerable, and they see how far they can go, and they work at pushing it. So I can guarantee you that between all the times that he saw you and saw how your father treated you, and had decided that you were a pretty young thing, and whatever he said to you in the car or whatever he was saying to you to be so nice, that was all a part of the calculation and the manipulation.
It was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Took me about 12 years to figure it out, though. At the time, even after, the shooting and everything happened, I kept telling myself, well, he loved me. And it took me a long time to realize not only didn't he love me, he didn't think anything of me. No. I meant nothing.
No. Was
So
that hurtful when you first realized that?
It was hurtful to finally come to terms with that.
But you meant nothing to him, that he really just used and was a predator.
So that was a snippet of Amy Fisher, who appeared on Oprah Winfrey to discuss her relationship with Joey Buttafuoco. And as you could tell by the conversation, the words prey and predator was used. Now, there are many stories of incidents that have happened where there have been labels placed upon people as predators. Some that have been accurate, some misguided. But for the purposes of this video, and because Joey Buttafuoco did plead guilty, it is more than safe to say that he did indeed prey upon the 17-year-old at the time, Amy Fisher. We have many, so many men and women, and I'll be doing videos on that in the future, who prey on the young, the vulnerable, those who are, per law, minors. In the case of Joey Buttafuoco and Amy Fisher, there were no winners. And unfortunately, Mary Jo, who was married to Joey Buttafuoco, ended up being injured because of the apparent and alleged stories that Joey Buttafuoco told Amy. Like many young girls, not all, but many, who are enamored by older men who may shower them with gifts. And in this particular case, the meeting was at the auto shop owned by Buttafuoco, where Amy met her knight in shining armor, if you will. And after they began a clandestine relationship, it appears that Amy Fisher's feelings grew for Joey Buttafuoco. That prompted Amy Fisher to visit the home and disclose their illicit affair to the unsuspecting wife, Mary Jo Buttafuoco. Devastated and hurt, Mary Jo demanded that Amy leave. And when they met again, as I've mentioned, Mary Jo was injured after a violent act precipitated by Amy Fisher as a result of the physical relationship with Joey Buttafuoco. Parents and those who are acting in the roles of parents, please, and I know it's difficult, monitor as much as possible the activities, the behaviors, sometimes the changes in the behaviors of your young adults. We've seen many stories such as this on the big screen, but it is proven that many of these stories do not just happen on the big screen. They're happening within your own homes. So please be vigilant and exercise as much attention as possible while rearing your children. Thank you all for tuning in. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, a share if you would be so kind, and any comments you may have. Until next time, thank you. Be safe, be well, and you know the rest. Be healthier.